It is hidden in plain sight, and I hope that you're paying attention. In today's video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening and how they shared with us. This has been coming for almost 10 years. Pay attention.
I ain't gonna give in now, I just gotta live this now. I'm gonna be man, I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in their ring when I'm knocking them out. When I'm back with the real, cause I am just up on the journey. You just know that I'm just going to say.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising. Good evening, warriors all over the world. My name is Coach JV, and I make the complex simple in micro and macroeconomics. I'm not an expert in cryptocurrency, but what I'm an expert in is understanding how the economy flows, how the emotions flow with the markets. So I have a logical circuit. I see things forward. I see things backwards based on my human design. I'm what's called the generator. And so based on my logical circuit, I can see what's actually happening with the economy by studying 8 to 9 hours a day in research. And what I say by I'm not a cryptocurrency expert, I make my investments based on intrinsic value of companies. And so take out crypto, take out stocks. I look at the actual companies and who is going to survive in this ecosystem. I'm diversified across crypto, business, leveraged life insurance, precious metals, and we have many other things in our portfolio as we get ready for the biggest shift in generational wealth in our financial system. So what I'm going to present to you today, so this week, throughout the week, so today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, these might not be very exciting, but I'm going to do some education based on what I think is happening with the economy. You need to understand the bond market, okay? So I'm going to show you a video from President Biden, and my apologies because the Fed said on Sunday, Janet Yellen was like, we're not going to bail out these banks. Well, they've pivoted. So we're in a weird dynamic, high interest rate environment. They shut off the printing machine, but now the Fed say they're going to step in and help these banks or depositors, which is great. But this tells me that we're at the great financial reset. And at the end of this video, if you choose to watch all the way through, I'm going to show you how we've helped over 6,000 warriors radically change their life and get ready for the biggest shift in generational wealth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through really quickly President Biden's his announcement around Silicon Valley Bank. Okay, then I'm going to take you back to the FDIC video. It's going to be a longer video because we're going to break that down just a little bit. I'm going to show you what a bail-in plan looks like, and I'm going to explain to you what a bail-in and a bail-out is so that you can have an educated, informed decision as you navigate through these markets. All right, so we're going to watch this video, President Biden's announcement and what they're going to do with the economy around these bailouts. And then we're going to watch the FDIC video, which you guys all have access to on the website. And then I will commentate that. And then I'll show you what a bail-in and a bailout is. And I'll show you what a bail-in plan looks like. All right, here we go.
Before I leave for California, I want to briefly speak about what's happening in Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks, and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and the team of banking regulators have taken action, immediate action. And here are the highlights. First.
Okay, so they took action. Okay, they stepped in. Now let's go back and watch the FDIC video. Now this is on their website. You guys have access to all this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these links down below in this video. So if you choose to, you can watch this stuff and educate yourself. Now the FDIC shares with us in this video that they inform the public because all this stuff is available. So I'm just helping the FDIC get this information out to you guys. Okay, so we're going to watch this video. It's a longer video, but this lady, so this is a board meeting with the FDIC. Jay Clayton is part of this board meeting, guys. He got announced as a new board member, and it's his first board meeting. Why is Jay Clayton now sitting on the FDIC board? He's the one that initiated the case against Ripple around XRP being traded as a security. You have to start to connect these dots. So we're going to listen to this video. We're going to go all the way to the point where the gentleman, the viral clip, where the gentleman says, we don't need to notify the public, or we may not want to notify the public. Well, let's listen to what he says, and then I'll show you what a bailout and a bail-in is and what a bail-in plan looks like.
Supervisory and resolution authorities around the world to make sure that we have, as much as possible, shared understanding of the steps that we might take, the steps that they might take, and that we talk about the work that we've done
Okay, listen to what she says right here. Very important. Her nerves are through the roof, but listen to what she says.
To keep those issues fresh and to keep those relationships fresh. And all of this really supports our readiness and keeps us busy while we're in the firehouse.
Keeps us busy while we're in the firehouse.
Next slide, please. So the top.
I mean, look at her nerves. She's like, we're in the firehouse right now. And they were letting us know this is coming, guys. The bailout plan started in 2012. It's been going on for 10 years now. After Obama's rescue plan came out, they started turning on the printing machines the printing machines have been on since 2009. There's something happening here that we actually don't have access to, but we need to pay attention where this money is flowing.
Here is transparency. And we are very mindful that confidence is critical to the success of a resolution in any case and in every case, but particularly in this case where we would be exercising authorities for the first time. And the key to confidence always is setting expectations. Do stakeholders understand the process? And it is being executed consistent with those expectations. So we have taken steps to build awareness and understanding, and are sort of looking for ways to continue to do so. So for instance, we've been very, very transparent about our Title I resolution planning work. The guidance is published, Q&As are published, public portions of the plans are made available to the public on the agency's websites.
Which is very true. All this stuff is available, but who the hell is looking at this stuff? We're all trying to survive and pay our paychecks and pay our families and pay our employees. Like, we're trying to do our thing, right? We're not looking at the FDIC website.
Our feedback letters are open to the public and are also posted on websites. So it's an open process, and I think that there's a lot of information available there. Certainly, I've mentioned that we work with other regulators and regulatory authorities to have a shared understanding with those stakeholders. And in 2013, we published a notice in the Federal Register about the single point of entry approach to resolution, and to make that, that strategy that we had developed available so that the public and other stakeholders would understand and be aware of that approach to resolution. We continue to talk about Title II resolution. There's been speeches about it. We talk about it in a lot of different venues. Some of them are in small group venues, and some like this one are open to the public and are a way for us to tell our story. But what we want to do and what we want to ask you about is, what do we need to do? Okay,
so now where she's at right now is she's talking about this is open to the public. We need feedback on what we should do. Listen to what she says around notifying the public. And then here we are, a month later, guys? Oh, this was in December 2022. But here we are, 3 months later, and we have a bail-in.
To better set expectations, to power our, our communications and improve confidence when the time comes. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Susan Baker.
And they basically said, they told us in this meeting, they said that it happened on a Friday, and then they'll bail them out by Monday. Exact way the plan happened.
Aye. As Betsy conveyed, we've done a lot about transparency in terms of resolution planning. It's all out there on the website. What we want to think about and what we're starting to work on now is how to improve transparency about our execution plans for Title II resolution. We've been working on these for 10 years now, and we should probably be starting to say more things publicly.
Okay, so they've been working on them for 10 years, and they said they should be saying more things publicly.
So what do we want to think about today is what should we be transparent about now that would help improve confidence in the event that we're called to use our Title II authorities. And we've been thinking about this across, many dimensions.
So why would they be planning for 10 years? Why would you need to plan for this? They knew this was coming.
First, we look at who we need to be transparent for. And we have a large number, a list on this slide that you can see. We've done a lot of work with policymakers and regulators around the world, has been said, and a lot of engagement with certain parts of the firm. So the slides on the right, we've probably done more on, but what do we need to be thinking about for the stakeholders, the general public, customers, counterparties, other people like that? We think about what message do these stakeholders need to hear, and it might not all be the same. And then we think about when we need to be transparent. And I know that there's going to be a temptation for us to say, for people to say, FDIC should just lay it all out there. Say what you're going to do every step along the way. And that pre-commitment will help improve confidence. But we also need to be mindful of the need for FDIC to have operational flexibility to adjust to the specific facts and circumstances on the ground. Next slide, please. So this slide is some topics that we're considering, the what of what we need to be more transparent about. And so what we would like to hear from you is which of these topics or others that might not be on here, thinking about contracting authority, which I took off the slide and now maybe I shouldn't have.
If you notice, there's Jay Clayton right there.
So what are the things that would be helpful to get out in the public domain to improve confidence now? So some of the things we've heard about obviously are, what are the key decisions that the FDIC has to make? When would you decide the framework? Is it going to be, is Title I bankruptcy going to work, or do we need to turn keys for Title II, which basically hinges on the need for liquidity through the OLF, I think. How do we decide the resolution strategy? Does the firm have enough capital to make an SPOE work, or do we need to be thinking about an MPOE? Do we need to be more transparent about how we coordinate cross-border, how it would differ if we're a home or a host? For example, we get questions about planning for the bridge as well. Who's going to run this bridge? What assets and liabilities will go into it? And how will the FDIC oversee what's happening at the bridge and maintain that for a public confidence perspective as well? We're thinking about creditors. How do you communicate with claimants, including about their claims determination? How will the losses be allocated on the Dodd-Frank hierarchy, which is different than under FDI Act and under bankruptcy? And then how will the claimants be compensated? How does securities for claims process work? We mentioned that in the 2013 thing that Betsy mentioned earlier. We're also wondering if we need to be more transparent about some of the accountability mechanisms that we have as well for the general public audience. We are required to remove culpable management. How would we go about doing that? Do we need to re-emphasize that in the Dodd-Frank hierarchy that compensation claims are subordinated to general creditors and that prior compensation could even be clawed back if it did? And then finally, there's the funding.
But they got bonuses on Friday before they bailed them in.
Mechanism. What part of that would be most helpful to boost confidence? I do think that the OLF and using it as the big gift, it's not a gift, but the big tool that we need in Title II to help provide confidence. But what do people need to know to really get that? How important is it to explain the rules and the mechanics for the OLF? How money will get from point A to point B? How would we use targeted guarantees to allay concerns about excess cash use? There's a lot of questions here. And so, there are a lot of things we've been thinking about, and what we want to hear from you today is what you think the priorities would be in order to go about setting expectations appropriately in public about how we would execute Title II, so that if and when we do have to have that announcement on Friday night, ideally Friday night, that people are in a position to receive it, understand it, and say, yeah, that works. And
we are now living right now what she just said. We're literally living what she just said. How wild is this, guys?
We can see how this will happen. Of course, there will be doubters, but there's a lot of things going on. So with that.
Now this is key. Listen.
First of all, I'd like to praise the FDIC for its unrelenting pressures to have more disclosure under the actual public reports. I think they have been very helpful. Second, I guess I am a bit pessimistic about your ability to communicate with the people who really need to know in terms of a crisis. And this is partly from my experience of teaching this stuff. There was a lot of interest just after the crisis. It's dwindled over time. And so people are sort of less and less interested in getting into the nitty gritty and some of the really interesting developments. So I would think your strategy ought to be to disclose as much as possible to people who professionally need to know about it. And that would certainly include the ratings agencies and the people within the banks who are responsible for these judgments. And simply have publicly available a place where people can go if they need to know more. Because we're dealing with a society where people are getting their information in tweets. There's just no patience, I think, for going through the elaborate and careful planning that has gone on. It should be there. It should be accessible when people need to know.
And we're accessing it. This is what they're worried about, is we're accessing it. This is public. We can share this information with you guys. We're educating ourselves. That's what they're worried about. We are now educating and empowering ourselves and understanding what's actually happening.
I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about?
They're telling you this because we are now in bail-ins. We understand what's going on now.
My bank. Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim. Right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system.
He just said that we have more full faith and confidence in the banks than the people in that room do. I hope you heard that.
They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in, they're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them.
And we found it. There you go. You got people, TikTokers, YouTubers. We're starting to understand this stuff. I have a deeper knowledge, guys. I don't, let the beard and the beanie and the scarf fool you in the necklace. I spent 10 years in banking, went to CBA Executive Banking School. I understand what they're talking about. So here's the difference between a bailout. This is on the FDI website. As they shared, you can access all this information. This is on their website, available to the public. A bailout is when banks receive equity injection equal to the amount of equity needed to meet. So the bail-in is all insured debt is converted to equity. So bail-in is different. So it's basically the debt is converted to equity. It goes up for an equity sale. So Monday, Silver SVB opened up and they're up for sale now, right? A bailout model is when the feds are going to inject liquidity or someone's going to inject liquidity into the bank, giving them basically free money. This is where it's converted and it's sold, and the people over $250,000 in deposits get a certificate, and basically in the equity sale, if there's money left over, they'll get their money. But what President Biden is saying, hey, we're going to help out. He's tapping on the Federal Reserve, which I'm going to dive into the rest of this week. He's tapping on the Federal Reserve to step in. The Federal Reserve is trying to raise interest rates, which is putting a cog in their wheel for their plan. This is what a bail-in plan looks like. You can actually go on the website. You can see it right. Sorry, I didn't I have it on here? No, I didn't have that link. Sorry. But on their website, you can actually pull this up and you can see what a bail-in plan looks like. It goes through the whole bail-in plan. They go through their ratios, their capital ratios, the company loans, the company deposits. These are pretty simple. This is loans versus deposits, right? It shows you all the different checkoff marks. This is what it would look like. Okay. And yeah, it's just a switch over. So this would be what is this? Material entry structure, shows the structure of the organization. And I think in here, they show you what a bail-in would look like. I think Wells had a really good description of it. Here you go. This is what a bail-in would look like. Okay. Company's ability to collect information. So there'd be like the target, then you have the diligence, the stress test, the runway, then resolution. So it switched from the parent company to another parent company. Everything would move over. You can go through all this stuff. I mean, it's not that exciting, but they all have been coming up with bail-in plans since 2012. I think it's biannually. This is Bank of America's bail-in plan. I am not saying that Wells and Bank of America are going to bail in. That's not what I'm saying. All of them are required. I want to make that very clear. All of them are required to create a bail-in plan with the FDIC. Okay. This is this Title II that they're talking about, resolution. I'll put all these links down below. So I want to make that very clear. Okay. I'm not saying Wells Fargo or Bank of America are bailing in. I'm just sharing with you, all of them have to have a bail-in plan. Okay. That's really important to understand. I don't want to speak out of school and say the Bank of America or Wells are in trouble. Their balance sheets. Well, you look at Signature Valley Bank. They were in the top 20 on Forbes magazine a month earlier, and then they collapsed. The problem is the bond market. Okay. The bond market. And I'll explain that in a couple videos coming up. But anyway, so I just want to dive into this, give you some education. I'm not saying that Wells, all of them have to have a bail-in plan. That's a requirement for the FDIC. I just want to make that very clear for you guys. Okay. So just wanted to make sure you guys have this information. This stuff is available for you on the FDI website, providing education. Down below in the description, I'm going to play a video in just a moment and show you what the Warrior Academy is all about. We've helped over 6,000 warriors worldwide change their mindset and help them get ready foundationally, build principles, discipline consistently in these times. It's the most critical time in the world to get your shit together. So after you watch this video, in the description down below, everything you need to join the Warrior Academy. We'll see you on the other side.
System is designed to keep you trapped. 2017, I walked out of a high-paid vice president job because I was absolutely miserable. Working 16 to 19 hours a day because that's what the system taught me to do. And what I discovered through countless hours of meditation, research, reading books, understanding how the millionaires and billionaires operate, the system is designed to keep you trapped. Today, I own multiple companies. I travel all over the world. I'm financially free, and that's exactly why I created this community of like-minded warriors coming together called the 3T Warrior Academy. Now, I don't say this to brag. I'm sharing this with you to show you what's possible for you. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your life to another level, we believe the Warrior Academy has something for everybody. Processes that take you step by step through discipline, consistent activities, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Our 120-day challenge, all you have to do is open up the app and take it day by day. We're going to take you through the discipline, consistent activities to take your life to the next level. Within 1 week, you're going to feel a difference. Within a month, people are going to notice a change in you. That's how powerful this 120-day challenge is. So if you're truly ready to break free from the old paradigm into a new paradigm of discipline, consistency, great relationship with your family, financial freedom, and learning the pillars of wealth that'll change your life and generational wealth to come, I'm going to invite you to do our program for 7 days for free. The 120-day challenge has changed over 5,000 warriors' lives worldwide, and we hope to be yours next. Warriors, rise! Get your shit together. Let's go.